Alright, what's up you guys? Welcome to another episode of Shark Realm. As today I wanted to do something really exciting and fun, and I pretty much wasted an entire maybe half a day trying to figure out what is going on with Mortal Kombat in terms of their action figures. And with that simple question, I decided to make a list of practically, I guess you can say, almost every single Mortal Kombat brand or toy line that came out within a reasonable scale, not the 12-inch versions, but more so the reasonable scale from anywhere from 3 to 7-inch scale, maybe Funko Pops if you prefer, and kind of go over how many characters were created within this time frame since, I guess, 1994 all the way up to 2025 at the time of making this video. And we know that Mortal Kombat has been one of those brands where, yes, it's mostly associated to video games. However, for someone like me who is a very heavy action figure collector and a big fan of Mortal Kombat, my question is, why hasn't there been a brand that actually has completed an entire roster of Mortal Kombat characters? Now, the term of complete roster can be up to your preference in terms of, do you want just the classic characters in terms of the first game, or going all the way up from the first game to Mortal Kombat 3, or do you prefer Mortal Kombat 4 figures, or even the 3D era of Deadly Alliance all the way up to Armageddon? And then you have the modern era Mortal Kombat where you have all those other brand new characters that came out. So I compiled a list in terms of brands, figure names, and then on the right side you can see here we have the list of characters that have not been made in Mortal Kombat action figure form yet. So I want to quickly just go over all these and kind of just talk about my thoughts and see what is the problem with Mortal Kombat toys. So with that being said, we're going to start off on the left. We have the MK roster, which starts from Liu Kang, goes all the way down to Cole Young, and then on the right side of the screen you're going to see starting from Jade all the way down to the character Floyd, which came in Mortal Kombat 1. So in 1994, Hasbro had the Mortal Kombat license to create action figures. Therefore, we got a couple of Mortal Kombat figures in the same scale as G.I. Joe figures. So, based on what I've been able to compile here, and do keep in mind, I may be off by a number or two, but it should be pretty much accurate. We have Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, Raiden, Shang Tsung, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, Sonya Blade, Kano, a Ninja Smoke, which was a pretty nice surprise, and we got Goro. So based on the 1994 listing of Hasbro products, they practically gave us all the essential characters that were announced or revealed in Mortal Kombat, the first video game. I mean, if you want to include Ninja Smoke, which was a nice surprise. But the fascinating thing about the Hasbro brand is that they actually gave us vehicles to coincide with the figures, because, you know, it was, again, the same brand that made G.I. Joe figures. So just by looking at this list, they kind of gave us every single character that was included in the first Mortal Kombat game, which makes it freaking awesome. I mean, they're probably the only brand right now that has just gave us like everything, so that's great. It isn't until Toy Islands came out, or Toy Island. I didn't write the year for this one, so I'm sure it's probably anywhere from 94 to 96. I could be wrong, but and I remember seeing a couple of these figures back at KB Toys, and based on the roster listing, we have Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, Raiden, Sub-Zero, Sonya Blade, Jax, which was a newest edition, and Shao Kahn. Now, if you've seen Toy Island figure images, you'll see that they could either be the same scale as, or the same style as G.I. Joe figures, or they can be just slightly bigger in like maybe like 4 to 5 inch scale figures. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Jax and Shao Kahn were more of the bigger ones in terms of like 4 to 5 inch, or maybe, yeah, like 4 to 5 inch, and then the other 5 were probably in the G.I. Joe scale, but again, I could be wrong. But just based on the roster, you can see here that Shang Tsung did not come back. They did not create a Scorpion, which is, unless they did, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they didn't do a Scorpion. Kano, Ninja Smoke, and Goro have nowhere to be found. So we lost about six characters compared to the Hasbro brand. Otherwise, if you look at the Toy Island figures, they look like they were straight out of the Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm animated series cartoon. So I think they were kind of based off of that. And if the line had been successful, we could have had an actual toy line based on the cartoon, which would have been 100% awesome. But they dropped the ball on that one, and we haven't seen anything light of day. And I'm pretty sure they also created like 12-inch scale versions or roughly around that scale, where they had like Liu Kang, Cyrax, and Jade. But I did not include those because those are more like the bigger ones, or Titan scale if you prefer for modern era collectors. Then we have a brand called Infinite Concepts, and that is a brand I actually have. I have all the figures. You can check it out on my channel playlist. I think it's the Mortal Kombat Toys. Check it out below. Infinite Concepts had a lot of potential despite being a bigger scale. I think they were 8-inch figures. And despite the weird and wonky articulation and disproportioned size of the figures, they were actually sculpted in detail really well, and it gave you the collector, the collector sense of these are not just action figures, but for collectors. You can display them. And we've gotten Liu Kang, Shang Tsung. We got 2 Scorpions, where one was the ninja and one was the one with the skull on fire. And then we got 2 Sub-Zeros, where one of them was the regular ninja, and then the other one had icy blue hands. We've gotten Sonya Blade, and this time we got a new figure added, which was Mileena, which was her first introduction in action figure form. Now, the thing I really, really love about these is, aside from giving us classic styles, they kind of reminded me of the Mortal Kombat A Journey Begins style action figures. If you haven't seen that animated movie, check it out. I do have a review of that on my playlist. But the thing that's really disappointing about this line, despite looking, at least in my opinion, awesome and incredible, there was actually Wave 2, which was supposed to come out, but the line got canceled or discontinued or whatever. And we were supposed to get figures like Johnny Cage, Raiden, Reptile, Goro, and Jax. And if you look up on Google what those figures look like, they are absolutely awesome looking. And Reptile would have made the trifecta of Sub-Zero and Scorpion complete. And we could have had the entire Hasbro style figures, but an 8-inch scale. And again, articulation aside, I think it was like 32 points of articulation. And again, the size proportions might be wonky, but at least we almost had a complete set of roster of figures. And oh yeah, even Kitana too. And unfortunately, the line got canceled, so we were just stuck with these 6 figures. And it hurts me because they were fantastic looking figures, and I absolutely love them. So that sucks. But if you go on Google, look it up, Wave 2 for Infinite Concepts 99, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And then we had quite a gap, but Jazwares came out not too long after, and then created their Mortal Kombat Classics line, Mortal Kombat Deception, Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, and Mortal Kombat 9 action figures. So based on what I compiled, Liu Kang returns, Johnny Cage comes back after a hiatus from Infinite Concepts, same as Raiden. But if you look in the parentheses, I kind of gave you the parentheses of how many different versions of a character came out within Jazwares. So Liu Kang had 3 figures, and one of them was the Mortal Kombat Deception line in terms of a solo figure, and then a Shaolin Monks 2-pack with Kung Lao, and then a Shaolin Monks solo release. So you kind of get the idea of what the parentheses mean. So Johnny Cage had 2 variants, Raiden had 3, Scorpion and Sub-Zero and Reptile both had 7, where, the skull version, Icy Blue Hands, Lizard, not necessarily Deadly Alliance version Lizard, but the Deception style with the scaly skin, kind of like how MK4 is, like the Shaolin Monks style. Kano, we got Ninja Smoke 2 versions, and then the thing about it, when you look at Ninja Smoke or characters like Sector and Cyrax, they also had the classic style where they were in a 3-pack, and then we had the ninjas also in like a 4-pack or 6-pack. So you can look those up, but those are freaking incredible. We had Kano, Ninja Smoke, Shao Kahn comes back, Kung Lao, Robot Smoke, Sector Cyrax, Baraka, Noob Saibot, Nightwolf, Ermac, and Rain. Ermac and Rain were more on the classic side. Noob Saibot, Nightwolf, and Baraka were more Mortal Kombat Deception. Kung Lao was from Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, and so on and so on. But otherwise, Jazwares, if you look at Jazwares figures, their detail was pretty incredible. I think they're probably one of the more expensive ones in the aftermarket at the moment, but they're probably a really great set of figures, but still we're missing, you know, characters like Jax and Goro and Sonya Blade and Melina and Katana, etc., etc. So almost completed a good set of rosters, but again, I compiled the entire line into one, so if you break them down individually, then yes, you're missing a lot more, but just in terms of name-wise, you'll see how much they gave us. Then in 2015, Mezco came out with some figures which I remember seeing in stores, but I did not purchase them because I think they were a little bit more expensive. But here's the really cool part. Because they were based off of Mortal Kombat X, we had Raiden, Scorpion, and Sub-Zero, pretty standard. And each Scorpion and Sub-Zero had 3 versions, Raiden had 2, Katana had 2 variants, and in the newest additions to this line, we had Kotal Khan and the welcoming addition of Quan Chi. So the crazy part is Quan Chi makes his debut action figure form in 2015 when he was already announced or revealed back in Mortal Kombat 4. So we've come a long way since having an action figure of Quan Chi, and of course Kotal Khan comes a brand new character and he looks pretty sick. So yeah, but otherwise you can see here based on Mezco that they did not really give us a lot of characters. Now this is where it gets very tricky and fun at the same time. Storm Collectibles was the latest at the time action figure brand that, despite being an import brand, they were the only one at the moment who probably gave us the most Mortal Kombat figures in, I guess, 6 to 7 inch scale, and I think they're probably like around 6 inch scale, and they almost completed their roster. If the Mortal Kombat Storm Collectibles line did not, you know, fool around and didn't get their shit together, they could have easily gave us the remaining roster of figures. So we had 2 variants of Liu Kang. One was the one with the dragon, and one was, I think, the I don't remember what the other variant was. One was an exclusive with other fire flame effects. Raiden had a player 2 outfit, 2 versions. Scorpion had 5 variants, where one was the skull, and then, you know, you dissect it into Mortal Kombat 1 style of the geese, and then the ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 style, and then so on and so on. Same with Sub-Zero with 5 variants. Reptile, unfortunately, was able to get 4, and this also includes like bloody variants. Kano came out with 2 variants, and around the time of Kano, that's when the line was slowly starting to deplete, and we were seeing less and less Mortal Kombat advertisements, marketing, and figures. Ninja Smoke had 2 figures, one blood variant and then the regular ninja one. And one thing to keep in mind is Storm Collectibles was the only brand that gave us all the ninjas. And with that, but not every ninja had the Mortal Kombat Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 gi style, like the grid pattern. So, but at least they gave us all the ninjas, and if you Google that, you'll see how amazing they all look. Now, some people might not like the stubbiness of Mortal Kombat Storm Collectibles figures, or their heights, or just how bulky they kind of look, but that's just kind of how the brand was. We had 3 Goro variants, where one of them was also based off of Mortal Kombat X. And Goro's a beast. Shao Kahn had 3 variants, where I think it was like 1 bloody version, 1 regular, and then the Mortal Kombat X, I think, something like that. Kung Lao had 2 variants. We only had 1 Robot Smoke, making a comeback since Jazwares, the 3-pack. And then Sector Cyrax and Robot Smoke all looked freaking incredible in the Storm Collectibles line. They're probably the best 3 characters within Storm Collectibles, in my opinion. We also had a Noob Saibot figure, which for some reason is blank on here, but we did have a Noob Saibot in Storm Collectibles. Then we had Nightwolf, Ermac, 2 variants, and Rain, Kintaro, Motaro, and Shiva. So Kintaro, Motaro, and Shiva were the 3 brand new additions into the Mortal Kombat line. So somewhere around the 2020s or 2018s, 2019s, that's when we finally got Kintaro, Motaro, and Shiva. So if you look at images of those, they are freaking beasts. They are monsters. They're pretty tall compared to all the other figures, so I think the height accuracy is not correct, but at least we got figures of those. So bravo to Storm Collectibles for making that happen. Unfortunately, Storm Collectibles lost their license, therefore we weren't able to get anything based on those figures continuing on, because there were prototypes and leaks involving Cabal, Johnny Cage, I believe a Shang Tsung, Kitana, Melina, and so many other variants as well. So very, very, very unfortunate that Storm Collectibles was so close to completing the roster, but you can look at the grays on the list that they were so close, but the line got canceled and they lost the license. Then McFarlane Toys swooped in and gave us Mortal Kombat 11 action figures. Now, a lot of people are big fans of Mortal Kombat 11, and as you can see here, we have Liu Kang, Raiden, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Reptile. Oh shit, sorry, wrong one. We have Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Raiden, Scorpion and Sub-Zero, Shao Kahn, Baraka, Noob Saibot, Nightwolf, Kitana, Kotal Khan, and the debut of Cabal. So the thing about McFarlane Toys is, he created the 7-inch scale, and they're obviously based on Mortal Kombat 11. Therefore, it's up to you and your preferred preference of your style of figures. However, I wasn't really a fan of McFarlane Toys' MK11 figures. I do have the Kotal Khan one, but McFarlane Toys wasted so much time and energy on creating variants and skins on characters in terms of, Scorpion and Sub-Zero were different colored geese outfits, were blue and purple, or Sub-Zero had orange and white, and it was just complete bullshit. If you just stopped that, he could have gave us other figures like Sonya Blade and Jax or Melina or even Kitana. Oh no, we have Kitana, sorry. Like Melina and Sonya Blade. But, there was that whole issue of McFarlane Toys stating, or Todd McFarlane stating that, female figures don't sell. So that was a pretty hard-hitting statement and kind of lost his credibility there for certain figures. So yeah, you can see Mortal Kombat 11 kind of gave us a few figures, but even if you look at the roster of Mortal Kombat 11, they were kind of close, but they lost out on a lot of names to be done. Then McFarlane Toys kind of dipped for a while, and we haven't seen any light of day of Mortal Kombat figures until he returned this year with Mortal Kombat Classics, and McFarlane Toys went back to the old school Mortal Kombat style of figures and decided to give us Mortal Kombat 1 and 2-esque figures, mostly on Mortal Kombat 2 side, but at least it's still something. Now, based on reviews, the articulations are very weak and with very limited accessories, and for $30, people were kind of pushed away from it. But at the time of making this video, we have Liu Kang, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Melina, and Kitana. 2 variants of Sub-Zero at the moment, and Wave 2 is going to include Reptile and Raiden. Other than that, we have no other indication of who the other figures will be, but I will definitely update the list as the time goes on. But let's see if McFarlane Toys can get his shit together and at least provide us figures from Mortal Kombat, or Mortal Kombat 1 and 2. Maybe Mortal Kombat 3, but that could be a stretch because he could easily lose the license. So that's why I was very skeptical on Mortal Kombat McFarlane Toys Classics line, because I don't want to dive all in and then have him lose the license. So I'm going to kind of play the waiting game and see what's going to happen with that. But at least we got 2 female figures, Melina and Kitana. Melina comes with a 2-pack with Sub-Zero, and then Sub-Zero has 2 variants. So and Reptile does look pretty sick, so maybe I'll just get the ninjas at some point. So that's the only latest editions of McFarlane that we have in terms of Mortal Kombat action figures. But then if you look at Funko Pops, Mortal Kombat 2 has been delayed to May 15th, 2026, but we do have brand new Mortal Kombat 2 Funko Pops of Johnny Cage, the Carl Urban one, and then we have Kitana. And then based off of classic Mortal Kombat figures or Funkos, as well as Mortal Kombat 1, We have 4 variants of Liu Kang. I'm sure we have a few more of Johnny Cage probably, and then Raiden, I don't remember, but we have 9 variants of Scorpion and Funko Pops, 7 variants of Sub-Zero, I think 1 or 2 Sonya Blades, and then 1 or 2 Goros. Melina's had 2 variants. We had 1 Kung Lao, which was the Revenant from Mortal Kombat, I believe 11. We had a Kitana Funko Pop, and then making its debut, we had Cole Young, who got his first Funko Pop. So, yeah. So I'm sure the Funko team did announce that there's going to be more down the line. So let's see what happens involving the movie properties. Now, if we look at the actual remaining characters on the list on the right for you guys, just by looking at the list here, the thing that I find very fascinating is that aside from Jade, we still have figures like Sindel, which we have never seen, Stryker, Fujin, Shinnok, and other than that, like, that would kind of complete Mortal Kombat in my opinion in terms of action figures, because we haven't seen anything revolving remotely close to those figures. Because then you have other characters like Chameleon, Mortal Kombat 4's Jarek and Kai. We have Reiko, Tanya, Tremor. It would really be cool to see a Blaze figure, but who knows when that's going to happen. Then we have Bo Raicho. I don't know what the demand of that is. We have Draman, Frost, Suhao, which the most hated Mortal Kombat character. Kenshi would be really awesome, but we've never seen that. We have Li Mei, Mavado, Mocap, Moloch, Natara, Ashra, Dairu, Darius, Havoc, Hotaru, all Mortal Kombat Deception characters. Kira, Cobra, Onaga would be a very fantastic figure. Shujinko, Dagon, Taven, Scarlet. And then we got Mortal Kombat X figures like Cassie Cage, Devara, Aaron Black, Ferrator, Jackie Briggs, and then like more Mortal Kombat X characters like Kungjin, Takeda, Mortal Kombat 11, like Cetrion, Garrus, the Collector, Chronica, and in Mortal Kombat 1's Floyd. So based on that list, I don't know what the demand for a lot of those characters are, but at least based as a whole since 1994, we were able to get most of these characters. You can just see it on the list, but it's just very unfortunate that we haven't gotten anything involving Mortal Kombat toys like with a complete roster. So I hope one day I'm proven wrong and we get an entire brand to create all the figures that we want. Like Jada Toys is the only brand right now to complete all of the Street Fighter figures. Like that is a bravo, like freaking fantastic. Jada Toys killed it. Everybody wants Jada Toys to get the Mortal Kombat license, and if they do, I think that would be fantastic, but I guess we'll have to see when the time comes. Otherwise, I'll be sure to update this list in the future, but let me know down in the comments below what you think about what you think is the problem with Mortal Kombat action figures, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Otherwise, thank you guys all for watching, thank you for subscribing, and I'll talk to you all in the next episode.